Hey everybody, I'm Bede, aka the Terrible Australian of Super Podcast, and welcome to the 5th edition of my DVD and Blu-ray updates. Again, I'm sorry this was supposed to have been online about a week ago, but again, I just didn't get around to doing it at the time, so I'm going to do it right now. So if you remember in the last episode, I talked about, for this episode, I was going to be talking about uh, some of the Criterion Blu-rays that I recently bought, and as well as a couple of box sets as well. So that'll be the topic of discussion for this one, and let's get right into it. First up, the Criterion Blu-rays. Now, if you're probably wondering why on earth do I have Criterion Blu-rays when I'm in Australia, they're region locked to the US. Well, the thing is, I actually own a multi-region Blu-ray player, which you can actually find here in Australia, but you kind of have to, because there are some Blu-ray DVD companies that actually do make them, but you kind of have to go around and search for them. So bought one, and hence why I'm able to watch a lot of the sort of Blu-rays from other countries, particularly from the US. So especially Criterion's. Let's start off with Night of the Hunter. I remember checking this out like a couple years ago. It's a fantastic thriller and very atmospheric and visually stunning, and I can't wait to watch this again on Blu-ray because I know the transfer is just gonna look absolutely amazing, especially since it sort of has sort of a German expressionistic visual look to it. So I just imagine it's gonna look fantastic. Took me a while to try to find this one because I don't know what is going on. Like, I couldn't find this Blu-ray anywhere cheap. I actually had to buy this, had to pay a little bit more for this one. So I'm not exactly sure if they're out of print or whatnot, but yeah, but I'm glad I got this one. So that's Night of the Hunter. If you haven't seen this one, it's definitely worth checking out. Now, the next batch of Criterions I actually bought. Well, I bought Night of the Hunter separately from the next batch, because this batch that I'm about to show you now, I actually bought off Barnes & Noble in the US because they had like a 50% off Criterion sale, so I took full advantage of that. They took a while to get here because usually when I buy stuff from Amazon it takes about 3 weeks or so to get here, but with Barnes & Noble, my package didn't arrive until like 2.5 months later, so I was actually a bit worried whether they would actually come in the mail or not, or if they got lost, but luckily they did. So now, first up with these ones is Babette's Feast, which is a film that won the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film back in the 80s. I saw this for the first time last year. It's an absolutely wonderful film, very moving, and it's just a beautifully done film in a lot of ways. Very deserving of the Oscar, and I have to say it's a movie that has cooking as the main part of the plot, and I guarantee you, and I've said this to a few times to a few people, if you do watch this movie, make sure you actually have a great meal on standby after you watch it, because I guarantee you 110% that you're going to be feeling hungry after you watch this movie. It's a great film. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. And now next up is The Last Temptation of Christ, which I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan, and it took me a long time to get around to finally seeing it. And I think I saw it about probably 3 years ago. It's a fantastic film and a very interesting sort of look at the life of Jesus, but done in a way that's very unique and interesting, and it sort of approaches him not just as, the Son of God as we all know him as, but more as, because Jesus, of course, was also, besides being the Son of God, was also a human being. So, of course, as a human being, he would also have the same fears, just all the human aspects that we live with day after day, day after day in our lives. So it's a very interesting and very humanistic portrait of Jesus, and it's a terrific film. Definitely one of his best films. I can understand why a lot of Catholics and all that have been upset, and I'm a Catholic as well. So, but that didn't worry me at all. I just thought it was just an interesting sort of like different look at the story of Jesus. So It's a terrific film, definitely one of Martin Scorsese's best. And if you haven't seen this one, definitely check this one out for sure. Next up is The Devil's Backbone, which of course is a very little seen film from Guillermo del Toro, of course, who made Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy films, and most recently Pacific Rim. This is a film he made around, I think, just before he made Blade 2, but I don't think it got released until probably a year before or a year after. So this is a terrific ghost story. In a lot of ways, it's kind of a companion piece to Pan's Labyrinth because they're both films sort of are set around the Spanish Civil War, and they have a kid at the center of the story who gets sent off somewhere, and of course they run into some sort of supernatural elements. And this is a truly terrific film, and it's definitely one of the best horror films of the noughties. Yes, I said noughties. And if you're a fan of Guillermo's, and if I highly recommend to check this out if you haven't seen it. It's a great film, and or if you live in the US, definitely buy this Blu-ray. So next up is Modern Times, from directed and starring Charlie Chaplin. I saw this one about I don't know, probably nearly 10 years ago, and it's one I've been wanting to revisit for a while now, and also to check out more of Charlie's stuff. I've only seen a couple of his films, and this one I've been looking forward to revisit as well. It's a terrific film, absolutely wonderful in a lot of ways, and if you haven't seen this one, I definitely highly recommend this one as well. It's just a terrific film, and I can't wait to when the next Criterion sale, hopefully on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, I'm going to buy City Lights, which is probably my favorite Charlie Chaplin film that I've seen of his so far. So I'll get that one next in the next sale, but I look forward to checking this one out now again as well. Also is Anatomy of a Murder. Sorry. I saw this one a couple of years ago for the first time. A fantastic courtroom drama. In a lot of ways, it was ahead of its time. It's a very long film. It's about almost 3 hours, but it's just riveting from start to finish, and it's brilliantly directed by Otto Preminger, and it just features an amazing cast, including James Stewart, who's fantastic in the lead role. If you haven't seen this one as well, definitely check this out. It's an amazing film, and just worth buying, even if you have seen it or not seen it. And finally, of the Criterions, I got Paths of Glory, which is a very early film directed by Stanley Kubrick, and I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. You can get this in Australia, but the Australian version of the Blu-ray only has 1 or 2 features on it, and this one has a lot more on it. So so main reason why I bought it. It's a truly terrific film, and definitely one of the earlier films that is one of the early anti-war films, and in a lot of ways, this would make a good double feature with probably one of the great Australian films of all time, Gallipoli, because they're both these films sort of tackle the same type of themes and ideas, and they're both anti-war films as well. And this one's an amazing film as well. Kirk Douglas is fantastic, brilliantly written and directed, and it's one of Kubrick's best films. If you haven't seen this one, or if you're a fan of Kubrick, definitely check this one out for sure. It's an amazing film. Alrighty, that's enough of the Criterions. Now I'll go on to the box sets. Now, the box sets are all DVDs. I'm excited about this one. I've got the Godzilla Collection. So we got 4 Blu-ray box sets. Now, each box set sort of takes a look at the different period of the Godzilla films. This one's sort of the ones from the, I believe, from the very first film, right up till '68. So it goes from the '50s to the late '60s. This one is also around that period as well. This is all from the late '60s right up to the mid '70s, and this one explores the films from the mid 80s right up to the late 90s. And this box set goes, as you can see there, it says Millennium Series. So this one goes from the late 90s right up to the very last Godzilla film, which was Godzilla Final Wars. The main reason why I bought these DVD box sets is, of course, like I've always been fascinated by Godzilla, and ever since I was a kid. And strangely enough, I've only seen a few Godzilla films. I've seen the first one, and as well as Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla 1985, Godzilla Final Wars, and of course, the Roland Emmerich Godzilla that came out in '98. So those are the only ones that I've seen. And now with the sort of the new Godzilla film coming out in a few months' time, I thought I'm going to do like a marathon of all the Godzilla films. So hence why I bought these, and as well as, if you saw the last video, I got Godzilla versus Biollante as well on Blu-ray. Now the only disappointment I have with these box sets is that there actually are a few Godzilla films missing from these box sets. I believe Godzilla vs. Biollante is one of the ones that are missing from these box sets, hence why I had to buy that one on Blu-ray. And the other ones, I believe, are King Kong vs. Godzilla, the second Godzilla film, Godzilla Raids Again, and another one I can't think of. I know what the name of it is, but I can't think of it off the top of my tongue at the moment. And of course, Godzilla 1985, The Legend is Reborn. So that's about probably 4 or 5 movies that are actually missing from these box sets, which is kind of disappointing. But I suppose it might have been a rights issue, I suppose. But I'm going to track the other ones down, see if they're available on DVD and Blu-ray anywhere in the world. So, but once I do, I'm going to definitely do a huge marathon of the Godzilla films, watch them all in preparation for the new one. So I look forward to watching those. And another box set is the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Seasons 1, Seasons 2, and Season 3. Now, these are blind buys. I haven't seen the show. I've known on the show, and I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan. I've just never seen a single episode of the show. But luckily, I didn't have to buy these in any of the DVD shops, because my friend Marcy, she actually had these, and she was going to sell them, and she asked if I wanted to buy them off her. And I said, yeah, sure. And so I bought all 3 seasons off her for $45. So that's $15 each. And I think the actual DVD pricing, like if you go to DVD shops and all that, I believe is like either $40 to $50 per season. So I actually got these at a very good price from my friend Marcy. And I definitely look forward to checking these out. Like I said, I'm a huge Alfred Hitchcock fan, and I definitely look forward to see how the show. I'm not sure if there's any more seasons. I haven't had a chance to look up to see if there were any more seasons after season 3. But if they're not, I've got all this complete series, and I look forward to checking out the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. So thank you, Marcy, who of course is my co-host on the Super Podcast, for giving these Blu-rays for me. Thank you very much. Now that's the end for this edition of my DVD Blu-ray updates. Keep a lookout very soon for my 6th edition. I'm not sure what the theme of the next edition will be. It'll probably just be an update of some random DVDs and Blu-rays that I've recently bought. Also, if you want to, you can also, I'm also a film critic as well, and I write for a film website, so you can actually, if you want to look out for more of my stuff in terms of film reviews and all that type of stuff, definitely, I wrote this down here. So if you go to the top website, supermarcy.com, you can find I write reviews for this site, and I also do a podcast there as well with my friend Super Marcy. So you can check out all my film reviews. I've got a couple of new ones up there at the moment. I've recently reviewed the Oscar-nominated film Nebraska, and as well as the film Winter's Tale. So you can check out that review, those 2 reviews, and a bunch of others I've written there as well. And also I have a review of 300 Rise of an Empire that should be out Should be online next week. And also you can follow me at twitter.com/BedeJamine just to follow my daily ramblings about films and about life and everything. And also I didn't get a chance to write it down here, but if you go on Facebook, you can actually look for my fan page, which is just simply titled The Terrible Australian. So type in The Terrible Australian on Facebook, and if you find my fan page, like it, and of course you'll find a lot of movie related stuff on that fan page, and of course all my videos for these DVD and Blu-ray updates. Alrighty, that's the end for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Definitely keep a lookout for the next one, and I'll see you all then. See you everyone. Bye.